Welcome to Readable Technologies. We provide insight on cognition thanks to a team of world-class designers, engineers, and educators. Ever catch yourself spending an hour or two scrolling through social media? It is vital to stay up to date with news and ideas, but what effect is doomscrolling having on you? Read this article about how doomscrolling affects your well-being and the 3 habits you can practice right now to build resilience. Doomscrolling is the act of spending an excessive amount of time absorbed in negative communication. During COVID lockdowns, exposure to numerous streams of protests, restrictions, and social unrest occurred every day. Political polarization, which has been on the rise for the last 10 years, also contributes to the exposure to threatening and emotionally charged communication. You may think some late-night scrolling on Twitter is harmless. Still, there is growing evidence of the connection between psychological and physical illness. Doomscrolling can reinforce negative thoughts and a negative mindset, significantly impacting your mental health. Chronic exposure to harmful and threatening communication is known to cause greater fear, stress, anxiety, and sadness. Stress is also known to weaken telomeres. Telomeres are the protective endings of chromosomes. Telomeres prevent errors as the chromosome replicates. Because increasing errors in chromosomes lead to accelerated aging and ultimately death, individuals with chronic stress tend to have shorter lifespans than individuals without chronic stress. When you doomscroll, 2 events occur. First is the usual brain regions involved in the semantic processing of text. Second is the trigger of the limbic, vasomotor, and other brain regions to evaluate emotions and threats from the written text. The cingulate gyrus, which is part of the limbic system, aids in generating focal semantic relationships, directs the duration of reading words, and predicts and avoids negative consequences. The stress generated from reading hostile communication is the result of predictions from prior experience and interoceptive knowledge. According to neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett, we use words to group various entities to engender mental inference about other people's intentions, goals, and beliefs. For example, consider the facial movements, colors, sensations, and events grouped under stress. While researchers are unclear why certain stimuli are grouped together to particular words, chronic triggering of stress, as labeled by the limbic system, creates a negative feedback loop by rewiring the brain circuitry that monitors for threats and makes predictions. These prediction errors elicit more stress and, ultimately, inflation in the body of chronic doomscrollers. You can create resilience from doomscrolling by adopting the following habits. 1. Meditation. 2. Develop emotional granularity. 3. Recategorize circumstances with metaphors. Meditation builds resilience by enlarging critical regions in the brain for interoceptive and emotional regulation and stronger connections between these 2 regions of the brain. The enlargement and stronger association of the brain responsible for interoception and emotion regulation improves the detection and processing of prediction errors in a calm and non-inflammatory manner. Emotional granularity is the term coined by neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett to describe how an individual can express their emotions. For example, a person with coarse emotional granularity would call a circumstance happy. In contrast, a person with a fine-grained emotional granularity would make distinctions between ecstatic, blissful, and inspired. Words seed concepts in your mind. These concepts drive prediction by the limbic system, which regulates your body's homeostasis. Your body's acquisition or imbalance of homeostasis determines your emotions. A more fine-grained emotional vocabulary drives more precise predictions that ultimately inform your emotions. People with emotional granularity have fewer doctor visits, fewer medication use, and fewer days in the hospital. So if you're feeling anxious from doomscrolling, grab a thesaurus and learn some more descriptive emotional vocabulary. Metaphors help build resilience by reframing the strong physical sensations that inhibit action to more pro-social and proactive expectations. Author Lisa Barrett uses the example of her daughter's karate instructor saying before entering a competition, "Make your butterflies fly" information. The anxiety and nervousness, metaphorically called butterflies, were reframed towards determination and discipline rather than anxiety and nervousness. Individuals who practice recategorization metaphors have improved performance under pressure, such as exam scores. Philosopher Elizabeth Camp states that metaphors are rhetorically powerful because they combine framing and association as an indirect, yet assertive, force on the mind. So next time you are doomscrolling on Twitter, say to yourself, "These are just annoying birds chirping here and there and everywhere." After reading this post, you now know what doomscrolling is and how doomscrolling impacts both your mental and physical health. You also learned how metaphor, emotional granularity, and mediation help you build resilience to the adverse effects of doomscrolling. The Readable Technologies ADHD evaluation is an objective and empirical evaluation that detects the distinct eye movement pattern found in persons with ADHD. In the comfort of your own home, simply read text passages out loud. In 90 seconds, our proprietary eye tracking technology and algorithm produces a likelihood for ADHD report. While only a professional can make a diagnosis of ADHD and provide medical support, our empirical and visual evaluation is an aid in your journey to identify if you have ADHD and get the support you deserve. Think you have ADHD? Find out in 90 seconds at readabletech.com.